we want to go to Stephen Hayes. He is editor-in-chief of the Weekly Standard. He is also a Fox News contributor. There's a lot of hope in this moment for some, fear others have described. You see a lot of handshaking there. What do you make of what's to come, Steve?
Well, it's an interesting moment. I think you're seeing Republicans more united than I think many people anticipated, certainly before the election and in the months after the election. Remember, it was just a few months ago that we were talking about whether Paul Ryan would survive as Speaker of the House, and here he's been elected as Speaker with more votes than he had the last time he was elected as Speaker. I think the key question is going to be how House Republicans and Senate Republicans coordinate their priorities with President-elect Donald Trump.
Right.
Are they working from the same set of priorities? Are they emphasizing the same things? All indications early on are that they will be. There might be differences on tax reform. Trump will emphasize certain things. House Republicans prioritize other things. But it seems to me that Republicans are much more unified than many people anticipated just a couple months ago.
Although they did get in that dust-up about oversight and about, the House's committee on basically policing themselves. We're going to listen in here when they get ready to speak. But in the meantime, they had a bit of a dust-up. You saw Donald Trump come out and tweet that Republicans should leave things the way they are for now. That wasn't the first order of business. They seem to respond. So there you go, right, Steve?
Yeah, well, I mean, Trump, I think, had to speak out on that, given that he's a candidate who ran on draining the swamp. This was an unforced error, I think, by House Republicans. There's a good argument to be made against the ethics panel that they were talking about dissolving. But think about the message that sends, as one of the very first things that the new Congress does would be to dissolve this. You knew that the media would take the story and run with it and blow it up. I think it was an unforced error.
Yeah, although he barked, and Republicans seemed to jump on that, so it seemed like they were listening to what he had to say, even though it went against how they had said they were going to originally come out. So it was kind of an interesting back and forth when you say that they seem to be together on one hand. On the other hand, they do have this golden moment where they seem to have a lot of wind at their back to step forward and do what they've wanted to do. Do you think they're going to make the most of it, or are there any signs that they may squander it?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion among Republicans about the wisdom of going forward and trying to repeal and replace Obamacare as one of the first items on that agenda. I think they ought to do it. They've made the promise to the voters for years now that that's what they would do if they took power in Washington. They have power in Washington. They need to make good on those promises. It's easy to see some Republicans getting squeamish about what that might mean. I think if they don't do that, that would be a mistake. On the other things, I think they do seem to be rather united. There seems to be good coordination between Speaker Ryan's office and Mike Pence in particular, the Vice President-elect. I think that they seem to be singing from the same hymnal at this point.